Good evening, everyone. I'm your host, comedian, magician, Danny Whitson. But it's all tricks aside because tonight we're turning the paranormal into the normal. Join me as we explore the gray areas of reality. We're going to talk all things paranormal, UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, and aliens, and see how it's all connected. This podcast is brought to you by the Experiencer Support Association, and we are live. So if you're an experiencer yourself, or you're just plain nosy, be sure to send me your question and subscribe to the podcast. Now, get ready because it's going to get deep. No, really, we're going to go way out there because this is Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. All right, my paranormal junkies, how y'all doing tonight? Welcome to Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, and I'm your host, Danny Whitson. Tonight, we've got a fantastic show for you guys. We've got paranormal investigator Christina Westervelt, and she's got some awesome stories. She's with East Coast Paranormal, and she's been everywhere. A lot of cool investigations, but notably, the Conjuring House. And that's what I can't wait to talk with her about tonight. I think that's going to be super cool. Also, let's say any experiencers, anybody out there, be sure to go check out the experiencersupport.org. We got some fantastic articles for you to read, some alien UFO stories. And if you do have an experience or if you've had an experience, be sure to contact Ryan Stacy at the experiencersupport.org. He can help you through anything. All right, guys, are you ready for tonight's guest? Let's get a big round of applause for Christina Westervelt.
Hi! Surprise!
How you doing? All right.
Surprise!
And Christina, now I forgot. I should have brought the skunk up too. What is the skunk's name?
This is Charger. He was being nosy, and I took the opportunity because he's probably gonna have a fit and want to go back under the bed. But this is Charger. He's my 4-year-old domestically bred striped skunk. Charger, don't be shy. Come here. Eat your celery.
That is so cool. Charger's like, you know what? I'm opening the show, guys. So this
well, I saw him poke his nose out under the bed. I'm like, it's now or never.
That is awesome, folks. Also, I forgot to mention, Christina does have a sidekick, Charger, the skunk. So yes. Now, does Charger ever go on investigations with you? I got to ask.
Charger does not leave the house.
Okay.
They're very skittish creatures. So if someone he doesn't know comes in or anything, he'll hide. So but like I'm mom, so he sleeps on me. He sleeps in bed with me. He's got pet stairs. He's like a cat dog. He's
a cat dog. That's okay. That's so interesting because I've never been close to a skunk in my whole life. Like most people, I try to avoid being around a skunk. But so I've got to ask this, because he's here, so we got to interview Charger while he's here, guys.
Yeah.
How long have you had Charger? How long has Charger been with you?
He will be 5 years old this coming May, and I have had him since he was 9 weeks old.
Wow, so, 5 years old. Now,
how long?
What's kind of like the lifespan of a skunk?
Domestic skunks, 8 to 12. It's kind of common for them to have heart issues and other health issues, so some don't make it that long. But like this is my spawn. Like if I don't want children, but like if I could birth this, I would be okay with that, But other than that, I don't want any. I'm happy with my fur child,
Hey, I think it's cool, and I am. The question that I'm sure everybody's wondering. Charger can't spray, right? Charger is
no. So the breeders remove their anal glands. That's the anatomy that they actually spray with. So before they sell them, they removed their anal gland. So he wouldn't spray me anyways, because like I'm mom, you know, like you ever see those videos of them trailing behind mom, like the babies, like he did that for me for like a year and a half, 2 years, and then they grow up and they just want food and snuggles and then to be left alone, which is totally cool, you know. So he's not constantly, you know, he gives me space, but he gives me love, you know.
That is so cool.
Well,
and I never knew. I always knew they sprayed like I don't know. I'm dumb. I thought it came out of their tail, but it comes out of their ass, which makes a lot of sense. So
yes.
All right.
All right. I'm gonna let you go back under because I know you're not happy about this.
All right. Bye, Charger. Everybody say bye, Charger.
Oh, there we go.
That is so cool.
Well, I'm glad.
It looks like kind of like the pet that a paranormal investigator would have. So,
you know, it's funny. I go to these cons and, you know, I've been doing like, you know, pretty heavy in the paranormal field for at least 4 years now. And everyone's like, oh, you're the girl with the skunk. And I'm like, well, I'm also a paranormal investigator. Like, yes, I know Charger is much cuter than me. I understand, you know.
Well, I tell you what, let's do this for the, you know, for people tuning in. If you don't mind, go ahead and give yourself, you know, let them know a little bit about you.
So I am born and raised Jersey. So I'm unfortunately still in Jersey, but yes, so I totally got into the field when I was a little kid. Me and my dad I grew up watching ghost hunters. I grew up on horror movies. I was like 5 watching Hellraiser, Pumpkinhead, all the original Romero, like zombie movies, you know. I've just grown up like on horror movies. Like I was like little kid going like, who in grammar school has their birthday party at a haunted attraction?
Oh, wow, dude.
My dad used to take me and like, you know, a few of my classmates that were my friends to a haunted house for my birthday. So, you know, I always did trips to Salem with my dad. And then, you know, I actually still have it in my case of my equipment. You know, he got me one of those old school, like OG K2 meters, which is one of the ones that I used to use on ghost hunters when they first came out. And you actually have to, it's a K2 meter. I have it sitting over there, but you have to actually stick a coin in like the slot to keep the button down. Like the button doesn't stay down. Like everyone who knows what I'm talking about. But now they actually have one, you press the button, it stays on. But this one, you actually had to shove like a coin or something in there to keep it on.
That's so funny that ghost hunting now has went to this stage to where there's like, back in our day, you know, we had to shove a quarter in our.
I know. Hey, Logan, what's going on? So yes, I've just been into it for so long. And, you know, I've had various hobbies throughout my life. I was a radio DJ. I went to school for that. Metal radio DJ, just to clarify. And also, you know, I ran a car club. I used to drag race on the weekends at the racetrack. So I've owned nothing but like muscle cars and stuff like that. I actually have a purple Dodge Charger Scat Pack now, but that doesn't go. I retired the daytime activities even though we did race at night sometimes at the track, but I retired that around quarantine time. And, you know, I was sitting there and I got together. I met one of my friends and I'm like, you know what? Like, I've wanted to do this all my life. You know, I've always wanted to do this. And when I was younger, you couldn't pay to get into these locations, you know, like you were breaking and entering, you know, or, you know, you weren't going. So, you know, I noticed when I'm 37 now, but you know, in my like mid 20s, I was like, I noticed these places like Penhurst and all these places were like, oh, you can come investigate, pay, you know, it costs this much. And at that point, I was like, oh, I don't know if I can stay up that late. It's till like 4 a.m. And I'm like, so during quarantine, I was like, you know what, screw this. I'm doing this. You know, me and my buddy from Jersey, we started our own team. And then we ended up joining up with another team. I used to Logan, I used to race. I had a 2016 Camaro SS. That's what I used to race. besides the fact that I've had 4 back surgeries, so I really can't risk getting into an accident these days. But my Charger is like super torquey monster. Like I would have to buy some drag radials or something in order to track that, because I just don't trust it. The Camaro kind of just went, but I love that car too. But anyways, sidetracked. I have lots of hobbies, but so our team kind of evolved into East Coast Paranormal. So there's like 15 of us on the team now. There's a lot. So it gets a little rough in smaller locations, especially like you mentioned, the Conjuring House. I've learned that you really don't want to go there with more than like 5 people, because like you literally can see through the planks on the floor. Like
yeah, I could only imagine. Well, 15 people. Now, is this something where you guys are, I mean, it's always 15 people at every investigation, or is it just, hey, I'm available kind of a thing? Or
we have a pretty good turnout, but not always. Not always everyone shows, but we do. My favorite types of locations, believe it or not, are Penhurst. We go there. We used to go there twice a year, but now we usually just do once. Penhurst in Spring City, Pennsylvania. Yes, car people, we're awesome. So Penhurst, Mid-Orange Correctional Facility in Warwick, New York. So these are like giant locations with tons of buildings, so you can spread out, you can separate. It's not an issue. And the good thing about having a big team is, some of these places cost $1,200 to get into, so you have multiple, people to help and split up the cost. So
that makes a lot of sense. Think about it, because I mean, it used not to be a business, folks, but now, these attractions with names, you do have to pay a lot of times to get in and investigate.
Well, some of them are historical locations. Some of them are parts of historical societies. So, not all of them, but some of them just having these investigations and, people coming in, are keeping, them open, like the Stanley Hotel in New York. I'll be there this Saturday, and I'm actually going back on the 12th, but, like they help pay for a new roof. Fort Mifflin.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's great benefits. A lot of benefits to this is what it gets to businesses and stuff, and communities too, who do tours and a lot of stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I want to back something up real quick, because something that I find it's interesting, how you got into paranormal through your father. And, I have a 14-year-old daughter who she loves the dark arts, but no, I mean, like, I've done shows at cons, creepy cons and stuff, and I've her with me, and she loves a chance to dress up and, just she eats it up. She loves it, and she's always done that. So we kind of got that kind of same relationship too. But I think that's it was probably a lot more rare when you were growing up with your father that, hey, instead of going to Disney World, we're going to go to Salem,
Every year I look forward to it,
Yeah. Yeah. But I think now ghost hunting and the paranormal, and even like with the UFO, cons and stuff, it's created something different that families can go do together and experience, which I think is super cool.
Yeah. You know what? It's a lot less of a taboo topic these days. People are a lot more accepting of it, but that comes with pros and cons as well. Hi, we're from Germany.
What's up, from Germany? What's up, man?
So yeah, it's just, oh, hey, Jimmy. So this is the one and only Mr. Haunted tuning in. He was drinking some coffee.
Mr. Haunted, he is up. All right.
What's up, Jimmy? So yeah, I mean, so many of these locations stay open. I mean, God, we had a bad storm like last month, and the roof went flying off one of the buildings of Fort Mifflin, and we, my friend runs Fort Mifflin, Greg, and I mean, they are a historic location. They're out in Philly. So it's a really, really great location. If anyone's out there, you can actually go there during the weekend and just take a tour, a historical tour, walk around, kind of like a park. But you can also do investigations there as well. But you know, like all of these investigations, privates and also, you know, public, they'll do public ones where, you know, you can pay just to buy a ticket, which is great for people who, you know, don't have teams to split up the cost, you know. So that's really what, you know, inspires me to go to a lot of places, is the fact that I know I'm helping keep these doors open, just for the history, and also, you know, for people, future investigators, to be able to go there and check it out, you know.
Well, so let me ask you this. Okay. What was your first, do you mind to share your first paranormal experience, the thing that lets you know that there's more going on out there than what we first think?
You know, I always joke around with people because they're always going to be like expecting some like crazy childhood trauma or something like that, and it's just not the case. So I'm a very skeptical investigator, and it's not that I don't believe, because I 100% believe, but I'm very hard to impress. You know, our equipment, I use as a grain of salt, you know. So there's many things that can set our equipment off. So it's kind of like I use our equipment to verify personal experiences, you know. So if you have a personal experience and your equipment's going off at the same time, then well, maybe that personal experience was actually something opposed to. So I was at Mid-Orange Correctional Facility a little over 4 years ago, and I can't wait. I'm going back twice this year, so that's going to be awesome. That place is really active, very, very active. So I was there, and I was in the A3 building, which was one of the little outskirts. So there's the main building, and there's a bunch of little buildings on the outskirts. It used to be like a rehab center for you know, young boys. It used to be a correctional, like and then it was like an actual prison. So this part of it was known that there was a kid that supposedly hung himself in that building, or one of the buildings nearby. But that building is just something like, I'm not sensitive, I'm not a psychic, you know, but you walk in and it's like, it was just heavy, you know, it's just heavy. It's like a different vibe from the rest of the place. And I remember I was standing in the hallway, and I'm like that jerk where I'm like, all right, just send me like by myself to the most haunted spot and just leave me and come back for me in an hour. I see things all the time, it seems. I don't know. That's a good question, Werder. That's maybe people are like, you know, a little more in tune or paying a little more attention.
There are actually, I really do believe there are people, and it's nothing against people who aren't as sensitive, but I think some people are a little more sensitive than others. So that may be the case for you, Werder. You may, I don't know.
Yeah. So I was standing in the hallway, and I walked down by myself. I put my REM pod down, which is a little device, and it's got an antenna, and it emits its own EMF field. So if something comes close to it, it'll alarm. So I'm standing there, this and that, I'm asking questions, and all of a sudden, just like, oh my God, hold on. No.
Perfect timing.
No updates, right? So it's like, HP Smart would like to make some adjustments. No, HP Smart, thank you. So I'm standing there, and all of a sudden, like, my whole body just feels like I stuck my hand in an electrical socket. Like, it was just like tingling, like this is electrical, like tingling, like the every hair. I joked around. I said, I just shaved my legs, and every hair on my body was still standing up. You know what I mean? Like, I used had those goosebumps. And then like right as this happens, like 10 seconds later, my REM pod in front of me starts going off. And I was just like, what is going on with that? And then we went back into that building later on, and my buddy Rich is very sensitive, and there was four of us. And you know, he ran out the building and was throwing up outside. I went upstairs, and I had my REM pod up at the top of the stairs of the building, and like everyone's freaking out. Everyone's getting this weird feeling. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but now I guess I'm going up these creepy stairs to go get my equipment. And, you know, I'm like, all right. So like, that was like the first time, like, you know, I had some equipment hits, and like just some interesting things happened to me. But my first like holy moment was at Pennhurst. And people, I don't even
I think
care.
you can say holy shit, by the way.
Okay,
So.
I don't know how your podcast is. Some are a little more strict than others. But yeah, so I was at Pennhurst a few years ago with my team, and a lot of people who have heard this story are going around saying we faked this. And I really don't care that people say that, because this was like not for everyone. This was an experience that we had, and I don't care who believes us, because it was just out of my mind. My buddy Rich, he's a first responder. I've known him for a while. He's very trustworthy. It was like 40 degrees out. We all had heavy jackets. We were in the tunnels, the Rockwell tunnels at Pennhurst. I don't know exactly what happened.
Werder, I'll tell you what, Werder, here in 1 second. I'll tell you what, we'll let Christina tell the story, then I will hop on that for you, man. I know a little bit about it, and I'll give you my 2 cents on it.
Because I'm like totally not paying attention to the news. So I refuse. I'm one of those, I don't like watching the news.
Oh yeah,
it aggravates me. So I just don't watch it. So we were in the Rockwell Tunnel, and we were down there for about an hour and a half, me and my buddy Eric, his wife Patty, my friend Patrick, who works at Pennhurst, but he wasn't on our team yet, but he is one of our teammates now. He actually, this experience actually, got him close with us and ended up joining the team later on. And we were down there, we were asking some questions, and nothing really was going on. I think my friend Jim was down there too. And my friend Rich and one of our other teammates comes down about an hour later. We're getting like a few hits here and there, nothing crazy on the equipment. And we're sitting there, and there's little ledges on each side. Like, so the tunnel's like it's long. It's a very long tunnel. There's a bunch of tunnel pathways that go underneath the property. So we're sitting there, and there's one ledge here, and on the other side, there's a ledge. So like me and Rich were kind of like facing each other. And we all had heavy jackets on, this and that. And all of a sudden, Rich goes, ow. And this is like after him being down there for like 20 minutes, right? So we all look at him and we're like, what? So, we whip out the flashlights, and Rich just pulls up his jacket, and he's got full top and bottom teeth prints on his arm. And first of all, his nickname on the team is Chit Chat, because he's got a big mouth, figuratively and literally. And this was like a small little mouth print. It is peered to, I do have pictures. I probably should have sent those to you. Hindsight. It looks like either the teeth are crooked or missing. There's missing teeth.
Wow.
And it was so funny because Rich just stands up and he goes, hey, who bit me? No one's freaking out. All of our jaws are like, I
want to chime in and say this real quick. I'm like I said, I take everything with a grain of salt. I try to look at everything, and I try to analyze everything when it does come my way. I was always extremely skeptical about paranormal investigators when they go to these places and they get scratched or they get bit or they get grabbed or something. And I would always be like, come on, until it happened to me. I had my very own experience. I wasn't scratched or bit, but I was grabbed. And, that's for another time. I'll tell that story. But I am a 100% believer in that when someone tells, this has happened, and to me, I would have rather seen a freaking give me a damn ugly ass demon that twerked in my face instead of touching me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's nothing more terrifying than being violated that way by something that you can't see at all. Here, let me get to this question real quick here for Werder. Werder from Germany. Okay, yes, he goes, what do you think about the Miami Mall incident and the incident in Peru? Now, these are UFO questions, okay? So, but I will tell you my 2 cents. This is what I think, okay? After looking into the Miami incident and doing a little bit of, investigating myself, I don't think that is authentic, okay? I think they said the police incident. They were over 50 cops showed up, and there was rumors, reports that these 9-foot tall aliens were in the parking garage. People had spotted them, but it turns out there was actually a bunch of teenagers shooting fireworks. Okay, now I will tell you, at first, whenever I heard this story, I did see a TikTok from a guy who was giving his eyewitness testimony, and I got to be honest, he sounded very believable. He did not sound like a liar. He did not use lying techniques when he was telling the story, so it was very interesting. So that's what drew me in. But after looking into some other things, I have to go with the most rational explanation, that it was a bunch of shitty ass teenagers with fireworks. And not to go in any other topic here off of this, but you're probably wondering, well, why the hell would 50 cops show up for teenagers? Well, I don't think they thought it was teenagers. I think right now, according to everything else that's going on in the world, Warder, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, and other types of activity may be at high risk. So when police officers get a call like that, they're not playing. They're not playing games. So now, that being said, I want to say this. You mentioned Peru. Peru, I believe. Peru, I think something crazy has happened down there, and still happening down there. So I think the Peru is 100% authentic. And if you remember, was it last year or earlier last year, the incident in Las Vegas with that one family where one was in the backyard? I haven't written that off either. So, but that was just my 2 cents on Miami and the Peru incident. Hey, man, dude, I believe something crazy's happening there. I hope that answered it, and I hope I didn't babble too doggone much. We got some worded also. His experience, he was being pushed. He's been pushed by ghosts.
Oh,
so,
wow. Yeah. Hey, Taryn, what's up? Paranormal Brew. That is another lovely. Taryn is another wonderful lady that runs a podcast called Paranormal Brew.
Paranormal Brew.
Yeah.
Nice. So do we get to drink on that show, or is it just
It's.
like
I don't know. That's a
B.O.B.?
good question. Should I bring the drinks next month, Taryn? So. In hindsight, we'll chat later, but I have a friend that is very big into and big in the UFO realm of the.
Well, the cool thing about this, Christina, I'll tell you, with Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, we cover all topics. We cover the ghosts, if we can call them ghosts, as far as what we know they are. The UFOs, Bigfoot, cryptids, baby. The founder of the podcast, Ryan Stacy, and what I had him on my podcast years ago. I had a podcast called the Abracadam podcast, and Ryan introduced the theory that all this stuff is connected.
Oh, yeah.
And at first, when he told me that, I was like, dude, I don't like mixing my peas and my green beans and my potatoes. I like to keep all my crazy separated. You know what I'm saying? And it was hilarious because Ryan was like, yeah, I would show up to like the paranormal events and talking, I would mention that, he shows up as a UFO guy and he mentions that to the paranormal people and they're like, this guy's batshit crazy.
Yeah, my friend Tim gets the same thing. My friend Tim is him and his father. His father's been written numerous books on the topic, and they're always at the conventions and stuff. So they're very knowledgeable, and it's pretty cool and interesting.
Well, I think on a conscience, now this is where I am with it, just to kind of on a conscience level, I think he might be onto something with everything being connected.
Yeah. And
there's theories like, and I'm sure you've had your own or have developed your own with your investigations, that is this, are these people past, or are they just in another dimension that we're communicating with?
Or do you end up in another dimension when you pass?
Absolutely.
Are they like, what's that noise? Like, who keeps messing? Like, why?
That's what I'm saying.
There's something knock on the wall. Like, they're like, probably think, are we the ghosts in their lives? You know what I'm saying? Like there's also
Betsy, did you hear that? Betsy.
Yeah.
You know. So what's that beeping noise?
I think I posted a meme with the ghost playing the Ouija board, and the ghost parents are like, "Honey, I don't want you doing that. This isn't healthy."
Yeah.
But
So now, so he literally, but your friend in that last story, he literally got bit, and you said it looked like there was, I mean, whatever bit him had a shitty dental plan.
So, and which is really, really weird because, well, not weird, but actually quite fitting. So Penhurst was very well known. Some of their patients would bite. They're mute.
Oh God, I didn't even think about that.
So one of the doctors was very notorious and would, as a punishment, from the story goes, remove teeth, yank teeth out as punishment for biting. So it's just weird, you know. But the thing is like everyone's like, oh my God, were you scared? Were you scared? And like honestly, you know, I don't feel that, you know, just because you got bit or scratched necessarily means that it was necessarily like a negative interaction or a negative thing, because, you know, some of these people were mute. Some of these people didn't know how, like maybe that's like how the only way they knew how to get your attention, how to try to interact with you was, you know, to do that. But you don't know. None of us know, like literally none of us know. And you know what? Some of these, you know, spirits that we interact with, they don't seem to know either, because some of them don't seem to know that they even passed away. So I used to say, you know, well, maybe we'll find out when we pass away, but maybe we won't, you know?
That's, I wonder about that, you know, and because, you know, I mention this almost every show is I'm not a religious person, but I'm a spiritual person. Mm-hmm. And I believe, like, you know, both my parents have passed, but I still communicate with them. You know, I still talk to them. I still feel like they're there. They're here. They're with me, you know. So I think you know, hopefully whenever I go, you know, I'm going to, you know, who knows? I mean, do we pop up in another dimension? I don't know. Are we just a consciousness floating around the ether? You know, I don't know. But I do think something happens, though. That's the cool thing about what you do. You almost get, it goes from, you know, you've got the type of people who don't do this at all, have never been on an investigation, don't even believe in it. And it's unfortunate because this is real. There's something else. You know, we may not know exactly what it is, but there's something else going on.
Oh, yeah. No, there's definitely, you know, and I'm being the skeptic that I am, you know, he had been down there for 20 minutes and I don't know if anyone had ever been bit by a dog, a cat, a kid or whatever. But when you first get bit, it's kind of like the imprint and then the flesh, like regular color, and then it swells and turns red. So as we have the flashlight on him, it just and turned red. And all of us just like, and like I said, like people are going around saying it was bullshit. I don't really care because all of us that like were there saw witnessed this thing. They like, I mean, if Rich faked it, then he's a damn good magician and you should probably hire him because he was sitting right in front of me and I don't know, you know, but the most prominent experience I've had that happened to me was at the Shanley Hotel, which I will be back there this Saturday. I know they have my link tree and stuff on there. I will be live streaming on Facebook, on TikTok. I always do my lives. But I'll be at the Shanley this Saturday and on the 12th. I've been there numerous times. It's an amazing location. And when you pull up to the place, it kind of looks like, oh, right, this is like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You're going to die here. But it is a functioning. You can go in. It's there's hotel rooms with beds and this, you know, you can stay, but it's very old. So, you know, it's kind of like sleeping in a museum, you know. The owner, Kelly, is amazing. Stephanie, who helps run the place, is amazing. It's great staff. And it is one of the most active locations that I've ever investigated because no matter, everyone says, oh, this place won't disappoint. This place won't disappoint. And, you know, you go and, you know, paranormal investigating is like fishing. Sometimes you get something, sometimes you don't. A lot of people
It is like fishing. That is so funny.
And you know, people who don't know, they get all pissy. They're like, "Ah, oh, nothing happened. This is bullshit." And it's like, you know, I've been to Penhurst plenty of times where I've had nothing happen, and I've had Rich freaking get bit. You know, like I've had, you know, things happen. So I was staying overnight, and my friend it was like 4 a.m. I went back to my room. I was sharing a room with my friend's son, who was like 19 at the time, or 18, I think. But he's like my nephew pretty much. And he was sleeping already. He had already gone to bed. And I got my pajamas and this and that. And I had the year I was there prior, I had heard there was the only room I stay in the Rose Room. So that's the only room there that has its own bathroom. And the rest is kind of like, there's hostel style. So there's bathrooms and showers in the hall, like down the hallway. And the year before I was there, I heard something like walking around the bathroom. I'm like, all night. It actually woke my friend Megan up, and she's like, do you hear that? And I'm like, yeah, I've been listening to it for like 45 minutes. And she's like, what the fuck? And it stopped. Like as soon as she like freaked, it stopped. And then like 10 minutes later, you just hear, and I'm like, I just laid there I didn't sleep. I just laid there and I was just like in awe. So a year later, I'm there. I put my camera towards the door before I went to sleep, towards the bathroom, facing the bathroom. So if anything decides to start tapping around, I'll get it. Fortunately, nothing had happened. I remember waking up about an hour later. My camera was dead. It's a Sony Handycam that's like a night vision and full spectrum. But the batteries don't last very long. So like an hour or whatever, I'm not going to chalk it up to, oh my God, a spirit drained the energy, right? So like around 5:45, 6 a.m., I remember opening my eyes and I can't move. I feel like almost like the bed flex, like something's just holding me down on the bed, like not hands, nothing, just pressure. And I'm just like, and I went to go, yell at Anthony, who's sleeping in the bed over there, and nothing would come out of my mouth. I do not suffer from sleep paralysis. I've never had a problem with sleep. I've never had it happen to me before. And I don't know how long it lasted, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, no concept of time whatsoever. But all I know is once I kind of came to, I don't, I put my hoodie on, I put my shoes on, I went downstairs into the common area and I hung out for like 3 hours till the rest of my team got up. And I was sitting there because I couldn't make sense of it. I was like, did I dream that? I'm like, I didn't wake up. Like I was already awake. Like I don't remember waking up. I just remember just being awake and being like, what the hell? And finally getting up and moving, So, I just sat there like just pondering what the hell just happened to me. I was a little spooked, and it takes a lot to spook me. But I was also like, wow, like this is what you're here for, like I was excited. I was like, this is crazy. Like I've never had anything like this happen to me before. So, it was one of those experiences that make you, oh yeah, there's the known cat, like Taryn said, there's a cat that they just seen and felt around the hotel. There's supposedly like a wolf or a dog of some sort as well, that is shadows have been seen around the hotel. The place is extremely active. I've, had, but that was like the topping on the cake for me, like I said, when we chatted prior to the show, I was like, I mean, I haven't seen a ghost jump out and do the jig, but, I've had interesting things happen, that, and it makes you keep going. It makes you keep, wanting more,
I'd say it does. It becomes addicting after you have that one experience, and you're like, I gotta, we gotta do this again. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, it's not always like that though. When you do go out, sometimes it is like fishing, So, but it sounds like. Now let me go back to the guy that got bit. When I had my experience, when I was grabbed, dude, that set with me for a while. That was different. You know what I mean? Now,
Rich has been scratched. For some reason, they like to pick on him. I don't know why, but Rich gets scratched a lot at places. Don't ask me. I don't know why. I mean, he can be a little annoying. Love you, Rich. If you're watching. So maybe it's just aggravating them. I don't know. But he seems to be some sort of like a magnet.
I think, like I said, I think some people, I think I'm sensitive to, they're like, let's screw with this dude. I don't know. But here, I want to tell you some interesting comments. First of all, I'm a movie buff too, and Paranormal Brew gave a shout out to the movie The Others. That's a badass movie, y'all. Y'all got to see The Others. And here, and I'm also a freaking science geek, physics nerd. Werder said, I think CERN has opened up portals. And I think you're talking about the particle collider thing that's going on over there. Dude, who knows, man? I mean, I heard a crazy theory that, they've changed the timeline and, things weren't supposed to happen here. And now, I don't
variants, know. Loki variants, like.
Who knows, dude? But I mean, the cool thing, we wouldn't have a freaking clue if it was. We would just be, hey, we're on this batshit crazy ride regardless.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, it's but but back to the thing, your friend being bit. Whenever I got grabbed with my experience, I tried every way possible to rationalize what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on a run, I was on a jog, and I was at the part to where I was on my cool down, where I was just walking. Because I always like to walk to do like a cool down afterwards. And the location where I was at, it was by a river and in the town I live in. But unfortunately, this place is where a lot of suicides have occurred. A lot of, they find, bodies are dumped off. There's a lot of negative stuff that has happened there. And I was in my own world. I was walking down the trail, and then out of nowhere, something yanked me off the trail, just right off the trail, yanked me right.
Crazy.
My first instinct was, did somebody on a bike run into me, another runner? I was like, what the hell? So I'm looking around, and nothing. No one is around.
No.
Nothing. And at that moment, it's the most trippiest thing, because you're like, what? I literally felt a force grab me by the waist and was like, get the hell over.
Well, you also weren't expecting it. You weren't looking for something. It just happened.
Yeah. Just minding my own business. And, and I've seen things. I've seen, apparitions and I've seen these things, and that doesn't even come close to how freaked out I was over that incident. And I even tried I thought, there's a thing like when you're about to fall asleep called the hypnotic jerk, where your leg will jerk. You've had that your whole body, like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
I thought, okay, was there something going on there when after my run? And I even talked to my family doctor. I was like, hey, without sounding crazy, but something, jerk my, but and they was like, no, it wouldn't really work like that. So the only explanation that I can come up with is that some asshole ghost yanked me off the trail. I tell you what, let's do this, Christina, because we got some more stories coming. We got a really good one. I want to ask you about the Conjuring House, just because it's such a famous, cool place and people have seen the movie. But let's get to these messages, and when we get back, we're going to hear about the Conjuring House. We'll be right back, folks.
Have you ever wondered, or maybe just thought to yourself, if there were others just like you? You know, people with extraordinary abilities, psychogenic advancement, and perhaps unique intuitions. Maybe you just wondered if there were other people who experienced unimaginable, unexplained, or even unusual and paranormal events. Are there people who have more questions, more fears than answers? Well, you're not alone. You've never been alone. We believe you. Sign up for EA today.
It's your business. It's your property. Your assets are worth protecting. Blacklight Investigative and Surveillance Services specializes in patrolling and inspecting residential or commercial property against fire, theft, vandalism, terrorism, and illegal activity. People and buildings are monitored to prevent crime. Keep your property, your people, and your assets safe from threat. Our elite staff are dual licensed private investigators and security guards. Blacklight Investigative and Surveillance Services. Go to blacklightiss.com.
All right, welcome to Beyond the TinFoil Hat, and we are here with paranormal investigator Christina Westervelt. All right, welcome back. Yes, we had mentioned at the beginning of the show a little bit about the Conjuring House, and you were talking about some of the other places you'd been. Now, with the Conjuring probably being the most well known because of the movie, I would love to hear your experiences with that place. And first, let me ask this real quick. Did you guys go there before the movie? Or was it kind of the movie that kind of like, hey, let's go there?
Yeah, we were there 3 years ago. Three Octobers ago. We went.
So it was after the movie, well after the movie. Yeah. Okay.
I wish I had like this, like, again, great story to tell you about the Conjuring House. But it was kind of dead, no pun intended, while we were there.
Yes, pun. That was a great pun, by the way. I love that. I'm sorry. That's funny as hell.
We stayed till about 4. The one thing that did happen is there is a well in the basement, and there's the room. They have a little table set up, so a bunch of us were standing around. A few of us were sitting at the table, and the main thing that I remember happening is there were like some coins on the table, and all of a sudden, just like one of the pennies just went, and like just off the table. And it was dark, so I couldn't see really well, but you could hear it, you know. And I mean, I had my camera going, my full spectrum camera and stuff. So that was kind of like weird. But there was like 10 of us in that room, so you know, I'm just like, all right.
Now, is that a technique or something that did you guys put the pennies on the table, or
no? They were already there, and there was actually candy. I guess some people bring offerings of candy, as well.
candy?
Yeah.
Damn, that would piss me off if I'm dead and you bringing candy? I can't eat candy
For the, you know, the children. Yes.
Oh, okay, I get it.
I mean, even at the Shanley, there's a room. There's cigarettes, little like nip bottles of alcohol. Like there's because at the Shanley there's a very big history of like mobsters and gambling, and there's a bordella area. So there, you know, a lot of locations, the Selma Mansion in Norristown, Pennsylvania, and like a lot of people bring flowers for one of the spirits that was known to like flowers. And she was actually one of the former owners back in the day. It was another very historic location. But so the Conjuring House, and I, you know, the more I talk about it with more of my friends that have been there, something about the middle room upstairs seems to like make people just fall asleep. I think by midnight, and I have a picture of it too. It's funny. There'd be like 2 or 3 beanbag chairs like laying on the floor. There's a bed, this and that. By midnight, I remember going up there and like half the guys on our team were just passed out. There were 2 of them on the bed, 1 in a chair, 2 in the beanbag chairs. Like everyone's just just sleeping at midnight. And I'm like, what the hell's going on, guys? Man, we're at the Conjuring House. Like, why are you doing sleeping at midnight? Like,
you got to party hardy.
I mean, they took their cat nap and we carried on. My friend Christina fell asleep downstairs in the living room. I passed out by myself in the library, which everyone's like, what? You're in the library? It's like one of the most haunted spots. I'm like, I don't know. I fell asleep in the library, sitting in one of the chairs. So the place definitely, I don't know what it's about. What about it? But it definitely seems to drain you.
Was something definitely cool, you know, a really cool place to go check out. And, when you see the movie, be like, hey, I've been there.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, first of all, you have to remember, and like I said, you know, investigating is like fishing. I know a lot of people have had some really crazy experiences there. But at the same time, you know, it's all about your company, right? I'm here with my team. They're my friends. They're my family. You know, we had a good time, right? We had a good time doing what we loved. And it was at an iconic location that I don't regret going. I would definitely go back. And, you know, Werder had brought up before about the paranormal, you know, ghosts and aliens. And there's supposed lots of the owners there were different owners at the time that we were there. But, you know, there's a lot of supposed UFO sightings in that area. So
really,
yes. So and then also the Hinsdale House, which I have not made out in New York. There's supposedly a lot of UFO sightings out there as well. So they're very well. Now, here's the question: what came first, the chicken or the egg, or the are the aliens attracting the paranormal activity, or are the ghosts attracting the aliens, or is there something about the land itself that is attracting like all of it? You know, so. You know, I went and spent some time outside, hanging out, looking up. I didn't really see anything, but there was just some like weird, creepy vibe about the woods on the property. To the point where I was just like, all right, I'm gonna go outside. I mean, I stayed out there, but like probably, I mean, there's like wild animals and stuff, and probably shouldn't have been out there by myself. But I'm just,
you know what, Christina, what I believe is, first of all, I think the more you think about these things, and the more that you're aware of these things, I think the more sensitive you become to these things. And let's be honest, before UFOs were ever, you know, as popular as they are now, no one looks up. And think about it. How many days do you walk outside and you don't look up?
I live 10 minutes from Manhattan. Like, I can't see shit. Like, it's too
exactly
much pollution, you know?
But I mean, just every day, everyone now is looking down. So God knows what is flying up over your head. You really don't know how many times maybe something has flew over your head. Now, as far as you know, I'm kind of a fan of the whole, like, our consciousness is just a big satellite for the rest of the universe. And I think we are all connected somehow, you know, through that. God, I know it sounds ridiculous. I know. But it's not. It's just crazy. And because at the end of the day, you know, we really don't know shit about shit. So you just kind of got to take your wild stab in your gas. But I don't know, man. Maybe it's I like the interdimensional beings on you know, theory. And it's same thing with, like, you know, I talked about this last episode. I brought this up, was that you know, there's some hauntings that are, you know, played over and over like a movie.
The residual hauntings, yeah.
And then you have others that they call intelligent type hauntings. I think, you know, you've heard the theory that time isn't a point A to point B, but actually everything that the past, present, and future all exist at the same time, almost like a flat, you know, table of time. Mm-hmm. So maybe we're seeing, I mean, there's people that's talked about, like, with the UFOs, it's us from the future that we're seeing. And then you've heard people say, you know, like with the paranormal, like I said, that's just, you know, how we mentioned earlier, somebody trying to communicate through another dimension. And you know what? I'm going to throw Big Dog. I'm going to throw Big Dog some love in this conversation, which he doesn't get the love. But even old Bigfooty, even old Sachi, you know what I'm saying? Maybe, I don't know, but maybe some timeline there's some hairy ass apes that, you know, can hide like the Predator. I don't know.
I know. You know, it's I mean, I've even heard people make connections to, you know, Bigfoot and UFOs.
Maybe Bigfoot is an alien.
Yeah, or maybe he is. Sometimes, you know, man, like, sometimes I wish they'd come take me. Like,
oh, dude. I wish there was, like, another planet we could just go chill on, because we have totally ruined this freaking place.
I agree. No, I agree. You know, I'm not, like, super knowledgeable about cryptids and stuff. That's not really my main focus. But I remember, you know, we all watch those shows where, you know, and, like, they play the clips and stuff. And I think by far the creepiest cryptid that intrigues me is the Fresno night crawlers. I don't know.
God, I've never heard of that.
Oh my God.
Oh, yes, I have.
So they're like,
video of those freaking weird.
Yes, the legs. Yes. Are they not the creepiest looking things?
The first time you see that video, I mean, you're like, that looks kind of funny, but now I'm creeped the hell out because there's something creepy about it.
There's something really creepy about it.
You imagine seeing that shit walk across your lawn.
And you know,
I'm never going outside ever again.
And you know what it is, and I think why a lot of sightings of just in general of everything is happening now is because people have Ring cameras, people have like everything's videoed. Everything's videoed. People have pet cameras to watch their pets when they're not home. They, like, feed them little treats and talk to them. You know, like, there's just, you know, everything is being watched constantly now. Dash
there's
cams.
Pros and cons. There's pros and cons of that too. Now, I want to say, like you said, dash cams, and you have the porch cameras, which catch some really cool stuff you see. And, you know, back to, I believe, Werder's original earlier question about the incident in Miami with the aliens. One of the issues is we also live in a day and age where everybody does have a camera and everybody wants clicks, likes, and views. So the incentive to fake a video is higher than it ever was in the history. You know, it's like, oh my God, if I can make people think, you know, that I was diddled by this alien, boom, on video, boom, I'm going to go viral. So
it's really unfortunate. You're right.
It is. It's unfortunate. So that was, like, kind of what I was saying with the Miami incident. The best way to hide the truth, folks, okay?